My family could only afford to send one daughter to Beijing to study in college, so I gave the opportunity to my younger sister who was better at studying, and I worked to earn her tuition. However, she dropped out of school the second year after she went to Beijing, and she was determined to have a baby with a gangster who was a rapper. She said, "Everyone forced me to make progress, but he made me feel loved." The gangster got into a fight and went to the police station. My sister took the money for my medical treatment just to prevent her beloved man from going to jail. I died in the hospital, and when I opened my eyes again, I was back to before the college entrance examination. My sister cried and begged me, "Sister, I really want to go to college. But this time, I will never give in to her again." I never thought that I would be reborn. In front of me was a small and shabby living room, and my sister's tearful face. She said, "Sister, our family is not well off, and we can't afford to send two people to Beijing together. You know this better than me. I really want to go to college, sister, please give in to me again." My parents sat on the side and also helped my sister persuade me. "You are the elder sister, you should give more to your younger sister. Your younger sister has always been better at studying than you. She went to Beijing to finish college and found a good job. She can help our family better." I sat on the chair, speechless for a long time. In my previous life, I was also silent for a long time. In fact, after the college entrance examination scores came out, my total score was 20 points higher than my younger sister. But it was only in this college entrance examination that I scored higher. In the past 10 years, she has always been better at studying than me. So under the constant persuasion of my parents, in the end, I gave the opportunity to go to college in Beijing to my younger sister. When I helped her pack her luggage, I kept telling her, "Yaya, you are the first college student in our family. This opportunity is not easy to come by. You must cherish it and work hard to fight for a bright future for yourself." My younger sister sat on the side, playing with the mobile phone I bought for her with the money from my summer job without raising her head, and responded with, "I know, I know." The tone was full of impatience. It was a long time later that I realized that she was sending messages to her online lover with her head down playing with her phone. She was so eager to go to Beijing not because she wanted to go to college, but because she wanted to meet this man in person. But I didn't know all this at the time, I just thought I was too nagging. After my sister went to Beijing, she often complained about the high prices in big cities and not enough money to spend. "I can't even eat enough, how can I have the energy to study?" So I worked around the clock, saved money, and sent all the money to her. As a result, I received a call from her school. The person on the other end of the phone told me that my sister Ava was about to be expelled from the university because she failed more than 7 courses in a row and missed the final makeup exam. I was shocked and called my sister, and my sister cried miserably. She said that she had depression because she was excluded and isolated by her roommates, and she couldn't take the exam at all. She also begged me not to tell my parents about her expulsion from the university. I was extremely anxious, but because I was working in an electronics factory abroad at that time, I couldn't go back for a while, so I could only transfer all the money I had to her first, let her rent a house outside the school, and see a psychologist at the same time. I was also sick at that time, but I didn't care about my own health at all, and returned to China overnight. However, when I arrived in Beijing, I found that everything was fake. Ava didn't have depression at all. There was only one reason why she kept asking for money, neglected her studies, and dropped out of school: she was in love. Facing my questioning, Ava was more aggrieved than me. She said, "You only know how to make me work hard and force me to make progress, but I was born for love, and only he made me feel truly loved. You are willing to spend money to support my studies, but you are unwilling to give me money as soon as I drop out of school, which means that you don't really love me at all, you are just investing." Ava said angrily that she would sever her sisterhood with me, and she really did it. Later, until I died of illness in the hospital, she never came to see me. The experience of being taken advantage of in my previous life flashed before my eyes like a revolving lantern. I sat there and clenched my fingers silently. My sister saw that I didn't speak and thought I was hesitating. So she came forward and pulled my sleeve, crying pitifully. "Sister, I'm not going to college for myself, but for our family. I study better than you and am more suitable for college than you. When I succeed, I will bring my whole family to enjoy the happiness." I waved her hand away and looked at my parents calmly. "Dad, Mom, we agreed that whoever has better grades will go to college. Now my college entrance examination score is 20 points higher than Ava's, so according to the agreement, I should be the one to go to Beijing." Ava was stunned. She never expected that I, who always spoiled her, would not give in to her. Then, her face flushed, and her voice became sharp. "I only failed the college entrance examination this time. Annie, you just got lucky once. You have never been as good as me since childhood. The opportunity to go to Beijing should have been mine." I looked at her coldly. Actually, Ava was right. I have never been as good as her since childhood. She is talented and smarter than me. When she just started elementary school, her teacher praised her as the smartest student in the class. My parents loved their youngest daughter more, and this made them completely partial. When there was a tutoring opportunity in the city, only Ava was allowed to go. I needed to help with housework, but Ava didn't have to do anything except study. Later, I was asked to run home to cook at noon and bring it to school for Ava. I even had to wash her lunchbox for her, just to let Ava rest for a while during lunch break so that she could study more efficiently in the afternoon. Over time, my grades became worse and worse than Ava's. My parents would touch Ava's head and sigh, as expected, Yaya is a good student. They concentrated all their resources on Ava and regarded her as the hope of the whole family. However, I refused to give up on myself. In my senior year of high school, I applied for a dormitory. I showed up in the classroom before dawn every day and studied until I was the last one to leave. I was improving in every exam, rising from a few hundred in the grade until the college entrance examination. My grades were enough to study in a double first-class key university in Beijing. And Ava, she started an online relationship a few months before the college entrance examination. With the tuition fees from her parents, she climbed over the wall to the internet cafe outside the school every day to chat with her boyfriend. From the first mock exam to the third mock exam, her grades declined again and again. The poor performance in the college entrance examination was not bad luck at all, but inevitable. At this moment, my parents' faces were also quite painful. They have always cultivated Ava as the hope of the whole family. The reason why they said, whoever has good grades will go to college, before seemed fair and just, but in fact they were sure that Ava's study must be better than mine. As a result, I was the one who did better in the exam. Dad smoked a cigarette and tried to persuade me, Annie, Dad knows you also want to go to college, but Dad is not capable. Our family can only afford one child. Yaya is more suitable for studying than you. Mom also agreed, yes, Annie, Yaya is your sister. If she succeeds in the future, she will definitely help you succeed. Success? I only know that in the last life, it was Ava who dragged me into hell. Looking at the crying Ava and the biased parents, I didn't want to argue anymore and stood up directly. What we agreed on cannot be changed. What belongs to me is mine. In the past 10 years, I have always been docile. Even if I was treated unfairly, a sentence of, we are all family, don't care so much, can comfort me. They have never seen me so cold. Ava was stunned for a moment, then cried and threw herself into my mother's arms. Mom. How did my sister suddenly become like this? We are obviously a family. My father's face was also very ugly. Annie, you are so cold-blooded, and you are so clear with your family. You will definitely not help the family when you become rich in the future. It is difficult for parents to support you financially. I don't want your money. I said calmly, I just won't give things that originally belonged to me to others again. Even if they were the closest family members I once thought of. The dinner ended unhappily. Ava didn't eat a bite, locked herself in the house, and cried loudly. My mother held the bowl at the door and persuaded her not to starve herself, but she didn't come out. When it was late at night, I pretended to be asleep and saw Ava secretly took her mobile phone to the door to make a call. I followed her and heard her complaining to the other end of the phone. I don't know what's wrong with my sister. Before, my parents asked her to give me something, and she never refused. She's just a submissive girl. I listened to her scolding me silently. And I thought she was right. But this time she actually snatched it from me. I'm so angry. A man's voice came from the phone, baby, don't be angry. Your parents don't like her, so they will definitely give you money to come to Beijing. If she doesn't spend your parents' money to go to college, let her go. Ava stamped her feet in anger. Hey, how much money can my parents have? Originally, my sister could have given me an extra living allowance by working, so I would have money to go to the movies and have a candlelight dinner with my brother. I could also buy recording equipment for my brother and help him release an album. Ava's boyfriend Zach is an unemployed gangster. The only skill he has is to follow a few lines of hip-hop songs. After a long time, he can be considered to be more or less decent. So he thinks he can become a rapper, and the reason he is not popular now is because he lacks money to buy equipment and make songs. In my previous life, Ava spent my hard-earned money to take Zach to record 2 singles. When they were posted online, there were only a few likes. Zach felt that it was the poor quality of the recording engineer that dragged him down, so he went to the recording engineer's house and asked him to return the money for making the beat and recording. The recording engineer refused to return it, so Zach got angry and broke his nose with a punch. A few days later, when I was preparing for surgery, I suddenly found that the balance in my bank card was 0. Ava took advantage of my illness and unconsciousness to transfer all my money. I called her, but she cried and said, those family members are particularly black-hearted. They want to compensate 5 times the medical expenses before they are willing to settle privately. Sister, if you can't give them this money, Zach will go to jail. He will be famous soon, and his career cannot be ruined here. So Ava took the money I saved from working to redeem her poor lover. And I died in the hospital because the life-saving money was misappropriated and I had no money for surgery. Afterwards, Ava did not feel guilty. She said to her parents, "My sister's disease is difficult to treat. Instead of spending all the money on treatment and losing everything, it is better to let the living person live a good life." And just a few months later, Zach was lucky enough to become a hot topic on the short video platform with a catchy song, and his followers increased by hundreds of thousands overnight. Ava struck while the iron was hot and began to post her and Zach's daily love life online. The comments below were all praising rappers' girlfriends for being really beautiful and wishing them a sweet love. They took advertisements and appeared on variety shows and made a lot of money. Ava even talked about her story of dropping out of school for love on the show. "Before I met Zach, I was an ordinary small-town test taker. Everyone taught me to be motivated and work hard, only Zach taught me freedom, taught me to be myself, and keep real." Many underage fans were attracted by this rebellious love. A 17-year-old fan wrote a long and heartfelt article about Ava and Zach's love story, and the golden sentence at the end was, "If I can't give up everything in the world for you, how can I say I really love you?" At this moment, listening to Ava and Zach sweetly imagining the future after meeting on the phone, I turned away indifferently. "Okay, live again, I will not only not stop you, but also help you." 04 After the summer vacation, Ava and I went to the university to register together. We were in the same school, but because of the difference of 20 points, I studied the finance major with the highest score line, and Ava was assigned to a marginal subject. But she didn't care, as long as she could come to Beijing and see her sweetheart. On the day of registration, Zach, wearing loose hip-hop clothes and dyed yellow hair, rode his second-hand motorcycle and waited at the gate of our school, attracting countless people's attention. Ava saw many girls looking at her boyfriend and believed that they were discussing his handsomeness, so she ran up with an increasingly happy face and hugged Zach tightly. In this way, a week before school started, Ava couldn't wait to fall in love with sweetness. She didn't even attend the freshman lecture and was too busy to go back to the dormitory. I didn't go back to the dormitory much either. The reason was simple. I found a lot of part-time jobs for myself. Before leaving, my parents were dissatisfied with my cold-bloodedness and said that they would only give money to Ava. If I insisted on going to college, then I would be responsible for the tuition and living expenses. So when Ava was in a high-intensity relationship, I was making money at a high intensity. Finally, after more than half a month of not meeting, Ava finally met me in the school cafeteria. At that time, I was concentrating on washing dishes at the leftovers counter, and suddenly a figure rushed to my side. "Annie, what are you doing?" I turned around and saw Ava's angry face. I raised my eyebrows. "Working part-time, what, haven't you seen it before?" Ava said without question, "Stop it." I didn't know what was wrong with her, so I simply ignored her and continued to wash the dishes. Seeing that I didn't say anything, Ava became even angrier. She frowned, looking extremely dissatisfied. "I told you to stop. You are washing dishes here and you are embarrassing me." I was puzzled. "What does it have to do with you?" Ava said sharply, "Why is it not my business? All the classmates know that we are sisters. If you wash dirty dishes here, I will be looked down upon." "Oh." I nodded and glanced at Zach, who was sitting at the table with his legs crossed and secretly glancing at the passing girls not far behind Ava. "Then you are bringing dirty men to dinner here and you are embarrassing me too." Ava was so angry that her face turned blue and red. She didn't eat the meal and just turned her head away with Zach. I shrugged and continued to wash my dishes. I calculated that with the support of these part-time jobs, I would have no problem raising tuition and living expenses for the next 2 years. When I am a junior, the school allows internships, and I can get internship wages. Perfect. Ava doesn't have the planning ability I do. She was spoiled by her family and never treated unfairly. After coming to Beijing, she still spends money lavishly. In her previous life, she had the money I sent her, and her living expenses were always enough. But this time, without me, her big nemesis, Ava found that her money was all gone by the middle of the month. She called home, but her parents said embarrassedly that there was no money at home. So when I got out of the professional class, Ava blocked me outside the classroom. She smiled and said, "Sister, I've run out of money. Can you help me?" I turned around and wanted to leave. "I don't have any money." She grabbed me and was unhappy. "Why did you lie to me?" I checked. "You work 3 jobs and your salary adds up to several thousand. How can you be out of money? I don't even have money for food now, and you won't help me. We are sisters. What did I do to offend you? Do you want to watch me starve to death?" It happened to be a big break, and there were many teachers and students coming and going. Ava's voice was very loud, and everyone looked at this side inquiringly. I took a deep breath and shook her hand off. "Ava, my money is used to pay tuition. If you need money, go earn it yourself. I can't give it to you." After saying that, I turned around and left. No matter how Ava called me from behind, I didn't look back. I had an elective class in the afternoon. After it was over, I returned to the dormitory and prepared to eat some corn and go to work part-time. However, when I got to my desk, I was stunned. My seat was turned over. "Oh, your sister just came." In response to my inquiry, my roommate said nonchalantly. I was shocked. "You opened the door for her and allowed her to rummage around in my seat?" My roommate widened his eyes. "Isn't that your sister? She said you need to pay fees and asked her to go back to the dormitory to get the money for you." At this moment, I was extremely glad that I didn't leave any valuables in the dormitory. But in the cabinet, there was still 300 yuan missing for my emergency. After repeatedly telling my roommate not to let my sister in again, I went out and called Ava. She didn't answer, but 5 minutes later, she posted a circle of friends. The picture was a selfie in the cinema. Love in the movie is not as romantic as you and me in real life. I turned off my phone in despair, knowing very well that the money would not be returned. Ava took the money and went on a date with Zach, and I'm afraid it has been spent now. When I was in the evening class, I was still in pain. I don't know how many dishes I had to wash to earn the money for Ava to watch a movie and have afternoon tea. Although my heart was bleeding, my hands were still scribbling notes in class. The opportunity to learn is hard won, and I cherish it very much. On the stage, the teacher talked eloquently. Selling time in exchange for compensation is actually a low-efficiency model. Choice is more important than effort. We must learn to discover business opportunities. The pen in my hand suddenly fell. That's right. I'm really stupid. I actually fell into inertial thinking and still relied on working to get compensation like in my previous life. The right way is to squeeze a lot of money from Ava and Zach. To be honest, Ava and Zach caught up with a good era. That year, as rap variety shows became popular on the internet, hip-hop began to enter the mainstream cultural field. In school, everyone could hum a few lyrics of popular songs. And countless young girls also think that having a rapper boyfriend is an extremely cool thing. Therefore, even though Zach is a low-profile rapper, Ava still gained countless envy in our school. She posted photos with Zach on various social media, and the two of them made various iconic hip-hop gestures together, with countless likes below. Ava always said, "Zach plans to be on the show next year, and he will definitely be popular by then. He is handsome and talented, and he will definitely have a share of the big market pie." I looked at Zach's face in the photo, which was still a little weird even after being carefully retouched, and I had to sigh that rap might indeed be the best medical beauty for men. Fortunately, I have changed my mentality. In my eyes, Zach used to be a scourge that burned my eyes. I wanted to flush my eyes with the faucet when I looked at him. In my eyes, Zach now has become a crooked-necked money tree. It doesn't matter whether it looks good or not, as long as it can shake down money. I have initially drafted a business plan. But to realize this plan, I need a startup capital of about 10,000 yuan. If I save money by working and living frugally, it will be too slow, and I may miss the opportunity. I decided to find an angel investor for myself. In the Introduction to Business Management class, the teacher told us that the first capital of most entrepreneurs comes from their relatives and friends, so my eyes slowly turned to my classmates. Soon, I locked my senior, Selena. Selena is a top white and rich beauty. Her family has a big business. She has too much pocket money to spend, so she has been doing something between a female bodhisattva and a boy who spends money in our school. If the classmates have any entrepreneurial ideas, they will talk to her. If she approves, she will sponsor them. Before that, Selena and I were just classmates in the Ma Yuan class, and we were not familiar with each other, but I still took the initiative to send her a message. Selena sent me an address and asked me to find her. When I arrived, I found that this place was actually a KTV. As soon as I entered the door, I ran into an old acquaintance in the corridor. It was none other than Ava. Ava was wearing a loose oversized hip-hop outfit and fashionable heavy makeup. She looked at me and laughed. "Isn't this my most stingy sister? Do you know how much it costs to sing for an hour in this place? Can you afford it?" I said coldly, "You can afford it, just don't ask me for money at the end of the month." This touched Ava's sore spot. She said with her neck stiff, "Can we be the same as you? Let me tell you, there is an agent treating us to meet Zach here. When Zach becomes famous after being invested, I will pay you back twice your money." At this moment, a classmate came out, saw me at a glance, and waved at me. "Annie, Selena's box is over here." Ava sneered, "So you are here to hug the thighs of a rich woman, Annie? Don't say you are my sister when you go out. I despise your unreal behavior the most." After that, she shook her head, took Zach, who was standing not far away to watch the fun, and left affectionately. If it was before, I would be angry. But at this moment, I was just happy as I watched the two of them show their affection. Soon, every bit of affection they show will turn into real money in my pocket. But before that, I have to deal with Selena first. Pushing open the door of the box, Selena was holding the microphone and singing "My Heart Will Go On." Seeing me come in, she handed the microphone to someone else and waved for me to sit next to her. Time was running out, so I immediately took out my business plan. Selena briefly read it and pointed to the first page of the plan. You mean, make him famous and then make money from him? The place where Selena pointed her finger was printed with Zach's big face, which I took a screenshot from Ava's circle of friends. I nodded. Selena looked at the yellow-haired man with disdain. So rustic, can this be popular? I couldn't understand it either, but it was indeed possible. Miss, you don't understand the sinking market. The more rustic, the more popular it will be. For example, the song, My Heart Will Go On, you like. This song is not easy for others to sing, but it's different for catchy songs. Everyone can hum a few lines along, and it's also brainwashing, and it spreads very quickly on short video platforms. Seeing Selena's eyes showing doubts about her own aesthetics, I further struck while the iron was hot. This money is considered as a loan from you. I will execute all the specific matters, and you don't have to spend any energy. If there is any profit in the future, we can split it 50-50. A classmate next to her said to Selena, how credible is a freshman's entrepreneurial plan, Sister Rowe, don't waste your time. The classmate immediately turned to me, read your books first, don't waste these useless things. Selena stopped the other party and said lightly, it's okay, junior sister is courageous, I admire it. Anyway, it only takes 10,000 yuan, which is just the price of opening a bottle of wine. She turned to me, I will add another 5,000 yuan, I hope you succeed. 1 minute later, 15,000 yuan arrived in my Alipay account. The young lady is really beautiful and kind. However, in order to ensure that the young lady's investment would not go to waste, I had to squeeze her a little more. So I praised Selena and said, senior sister is so beautiful today, I want to take a selfie with her. Selena naturally satisfied this small request. After getting the money and taking a photo with Selena, I left the KTV contentedly. Zach Kappa, here I come. 062 days later, I found Zach at the used motorcycle rental place. Zach had seen me and Ava quarrel before, and thought I was going to make trouble for him, but I told him that I was not looking for him for personal reasons, but for business reasons. Our company is looking for a rapper to sign. If we can successfully sign, we will invest a lot of resources to make you famous. I can clearly see that Zach's eyes lit up. The agent who said he wanted to invest in him in the KTV has already gone bankrupt. Come to think of it, any serious music company would not be willing to sign him after listening to Zach sing 2 songs in full. But Zach was obviously still on guard against me. I didn't argue, and took out the gift right away, a set of trendy brand sweatshirts, very hip-hop and cool, worth 3,000 yuan. Facing Zach's surprise, I calmly said, this is nothing. It's just a small benefit of our company. We are an entertainment company under the Song Group. We are looking for and exploring new generation idols that young people like. As an agent, I think you have great potential. Zach half believed and half doubted. Aren't you just a freshman like Ava? How can you be an agent? I showed a mysterious expression of, I have someone above me, of course I rely on some connections. After that, I called up a selfie with Selena on my phone. In the photo, under the lights of the KTV, the two of us looked very close. Zach took out his phone to search and quickly found a photo of Selena attending a business dinner. After realizing that this was indeed the only daughter of the chairman of the Song Group, Zach became excited. He said, after signing the contract, can I see her often? Ava ridiculed me for not being real when I went to see Selena, but she didn't know that her boyfriend was the one who wanted to be with a rich woman the most. I gave Zach a professional and distant smile, of course, but it's not easy to sign with our company. You need to go through a rigorous selection. No one will cherish something that comes easily. If you want someone to follow you, you have to keep increasing his investment cost. So I arranged a very rigorous selection for Zach. When Zach came to the selection site, he found that there were dozens of young rappers standing here who were as hip-hop as him. There were more than 40 of them, and only one of them could be successfully signed. Zach suddenly became nervous. After several rounds of assessments and on-site battles for several consecutive days, I told Zach, I'm sorry to tell you that you didn't make the cut. The one who was chosen was a red-haired guy who was more handsome and better at rap than Zach. Zach was hit hard and felt that he had missed the opportunity to sign with a big company and marry a rich and beautiful woman. But a few days later, I found Zach again. Lil Red gave up his dream. I said with great sorrow, I don't know if you are also the kind of person who gives up easily. Zach quickly expressed his loyalty, saying that he really loves music. I nodded, okay, then congratulations on signing with Song Entertainment. A contract of dozens of pages was handed over. Zach was a little dizzy, and he asked me if the contract was too long and if he could take it back to have a look. I frowned and pretended to take the contract back. We are very tight on time, if you still hesitate, there are still a lot of people who want this opportunity. Zach quickly grabbed the contract. I didn't hesitate. He signed his name quickly. After getting the contract, I happily went to find Red Hair and others and settled the labor fees for the extras for them. Yes, they are all extras I pulled from the film and television city crew. After doing all this, I began to study peacefully every day, while eating healthy, exercising every day, and having regular physical examinations. Fortunately, in this life, because I did not work in a black-hearted factory and was not exposed to excessive radiation, my body is very healthy. Unconsciously, I have successfully survived the time when I died of illness in the hospital in my previous life. I flipped through the calendar and felt very happy. The day when Zach became popular is not far away. 07 According to the trend of the previous life, in the summer, Zach will become a celebrity on the short video platform with a catchy song. Recording songs requires money, and this money was paid by Ava in the previous life. In this life, Ava has no me to support her, and her money has become very tight, so naturally she has no money to record songs for Zach. It doesn't matter, I will pay for this. I took Zach to the recording studio to record songs according to the best specifications. At the same time, I issued invoices for all expenses as vouchers, and carefully locked them in my cabinet together with the contract signed by Zach at the beginning. Zach noticed my various invoicing behaviors, but thought it was my meticulous performance as an agent. During the recording session, he asked expectantly, "What does Miss Song think of my new song?" I couldn't help but recall it. Selena did listen to the song Zach was going to record. She looked confused, and finally, with a helpless tone of, "I don't understand but I respect the diversity of aesthetics," she forced a compliment, "Well, the lyrics are quite popular." I said to Zach, "Miss Song said that the music you make is popular and has great potential. She admires your talent." Zach was overjoyed. I really didn't want to see a smile on his ugly face, so I was ready to say goodbye to him as soon as the recording was over. As a result, we actually saw Ava at the door. Because Zach had intentions for Selena, he also felt guilty about signing with Song Entertainment, so he didn't tell Ava the truth, but only said that he was busy making songs recently, so he couldn't date Ava for the time being. As a result, Ava actually followed him here. It was obviously Zach who deceived her, but Ava was furious when she saw me. She rushed over from the side, pushed me to the ground, pointed at my nose and cursed, "Annie, are you shameless? You even seduced your sister's boyfriend?" Zach didn't want to offend anyone, so he rushed forward to comfort Ava. "We met by chance, baby, why are you here, have you eaten? I'll take you to have a bowl of hot wontons, okay?" Ava was immediately happy after kissing her boyfriend. She looked at me arrogantly, "See, Zach loves me, you can't seduce him away." She took Zach's hand and left happily. After a period of time, Ava and Zach's relationship became better and better. The counselor called me over and showed me Ava's transcript. Like in her previous life, Ava failed 7 subjects and was directly facing the situation of being persuaded to drop out. It's not easy for you to go all the way from your hometown to Beijing. I don't want to see a young girl drop out of college in her freshman year, so I applied to the department for a makeup exam opportunity. "Annie, you have good grades, Ava is your sister, you should help her more." I thought about it and said to the counselor, "I will try my best, but my sister is an adult, and I can't interfere with her decision-making." I turned around and left the office. My expression was as calm as water. I lied to the counselor. I won't try my best at all. In the last life, Ava had used up all the opportunities one had to help her. In this life, the only person I want to help is myself. Soon, Ava was persuaded to drop out of the university because she failed too many courses and missed the makeup exam. This time I didn't help her hide it from my parents, but directly gave my home phone number to the counselor, and at the same time looked heartbroken. "I can't help her, this is my parents' phone number." My parents hurried to the school. At the door of the teaching building, my father scolded Ava, and my mother covered her chest and couldn't say a complete sentence, she just cried loudly. The noise was so loud that people coming and going all looked over to see the excitement. How could Ava bear this? In the past, she had always been a hot topic on campus because of her fashionable rapper boyfriend, and was envied by many girls. Now, her rustic parents were swearing here, which undoubtedly made her feel very embarrassed. I dropped out of school, so what? You all forced me to make progress, but I was born for love. My parents were almost fainted with anger. "We worked hard to support you to study, and this is your reward for us?" Ava screamed, "Repay. Repay. You don't really love me at all, you just want to get your money back from me. Why don't we break off our relationship from now on?" I stood aside, put my hands in my pockets, and watched coldly. My classmate poked me cautiously, "Annie, your parents are arguing with your sister, don't you go up and persuade them?" I said indifferently, "I can't persuade them." My classmate was a little angry, "Why are you so cold-blooded?" "Cold-blooded?" A voice sounded behind me, and the eldest lady Selena came over. "How can you be called not cold-blooded? To repay her parents by helping her sister finish college, or to support her sister for her parents?" Selena shrugged, "Don't persuade others to be kind if you don't know they're suffering." Go to study when you have nothing to do, instead of playing moral kidnapping here. Selena is a celebrity in our school. My classmates dare not offend this eldest lady. After being scolded, they don't talk back, but just stick out their tongues and leave in shame. Selena came to my side and took a look at the crying parents and Ava in front of the teaching building. Be careful, don't let them suck your blood. She said indifferently. Ah, the eldest lady is beautiful and rich, and she is so kind. I nodded, I understand. Selena's reminder makes sense. After my parents broke off their relationship with Ava, they placed their hopes on me. I dealt with them indifferently and sent them back home. Since then, Ava has lost the living allowance her parents gave her every month. She had no habit of saving money before and had always lived paycheck to paycheck. Now she is in a tight spot and can hardly afford to eat. She came to me several times to complain and asked me to support her with some living expenses, but I always gave her a cold shoulder. After being rejected many times in a row, Ava got angry. She said to Zach, if we don't have money anymore, we can't even pay the rent. Zach said without raising his head, I'll be famous soon. Ava said sharply, you always say soon. How long will it take? After a moment of silence, I heard her whisper, no, we must find a way to get the money. Do you still have the contact information of your agent last time? Zach said impatiently, that guy is not serious. I know he is not serious. But didn't he say that if he introduced female college students to big bosses, he would get several $1,000s each time? Zach was shocked. Why, you want to go? Not me. Ava gritted her teeth, if Annie hadn't forced me, I wouldn't have come this far. Obviously I came to college alone, and if she worked to support me, everything would be fine. Why did she have to compete with me? She owes me, so she should pay it back in this way. Ava didn't know that I heard all of this. Because when she broke into Zach's bedroom, I was meeting with Zach online to discuss the follow-up publicity. Although Zach quickly hung up the phone, I had recorded all of Ava's words. Afterwards, Zach sent me a WeChat message, Ava, that was just angry words, don't take it to heart. I replied with a very hip-hop expression, it's okay, we are all good friends. Zach was relieved. Fortunately, life did not push Ava to the brink of despair. Just 3 days after she asked me to make money for her, Zach became famous. The video of the catchy song became a hit on the short video platform, and the number of reposts quickly exceeded 1,000 and 10,000. Then countless bloggers posted singing videos. Ava was very happy. She immediately created a loving persona with Zach as in her previous life. Zach hesitated a little and called me, I still want to focus on making music, is it not good to establish a CP like this? I laughed, you are afraid that Miss Song will see it, so you will not have the chance to pursue her in the future? Zach became stuttering immediately after I exposed his thoughts. I said lightly, it's okay, I will report to Miss Song that you are a commercial CP, Miss Song will not take it seriously. Zach's face was brightened, and then he asked me with a little worry, aren't you angry that I treat your sister like this? I sneered, she is going to give me to the big boss to make thousands of dollars, why should I be devoted to her? Zach was relieved and went to cooperate with Ava's marketing at ease. Look, this is such a shrewd, indifferent and snobbish world. Only Ava is innocent. She appeared on a variety show with Zach in front of her love brain, and then received the opportunity to endorse and promote. The business fee is quite considerable. Ava was proud and showed off in front of me. She sneered, do you know how much money we can make from an advertisement now? I smiled and looked at her. Ava continued to show off, do you know how much money we get for appearing on variety shows together? While Ava was showing off her love, I was the one who handled all the business privately. Every price was recorded by me, and the money was deposited into the company I registered in advance. Ava couldn't hear my thoughts, and she mocked me, every penny you earn is earned by working for who knows how many years. Yes. That's great. I couldn't hold back my smile at all, afraid that Ava would find out, so I quickly covered my face and left. In this way, after Ava and Zach were happy for a while, the popularity of the CP gradually cooled down. There was no way, there were always new things in the entertainment industry that attracted everyone's attention, and Zach didn't have real talent, he just stepped on the lipstick of the stroke, and couldn't maintain this popularity. But it didn't matter, they had made enough money during this period. Ava happily asked Zach for money. Zach told her with some embarrassment that he had signed with the company and the company would pay for the necessary expenses for food, clothing, housing and transportation, but the rest of the money was with the company and had not been paid out yet. Ava got angry when she heard this. She asked Zach for the company's address and came to ask for the money. The moment she opened the door, Ava was stunned. She saw that the person sitting in the office was me. Me, I know you are excited, but don't get excited yet. Don't worry, I definitely don't mean to steal your boyfriend. We have a very pure working relationship. I heard what he said about your purpose. This is our contract. Take a look. I showed Ava a copy of the contract signed and fingerprinted by Zach. I know, there are a lot of words, and it may be difficult for you to read. Then just look at page 7. According to the agreement, within the first 3 years of cooperation, Party A, that is, me, and Party B, that is, your boyfriend, will share the income in a ratio of 9-1. In fact, some agency contracts are more stringent, and this ratio is the same in the first 5 years. But I was particularly tolerant and only signed for 3 years, because I knew very well that Zach would not be able to stay popular for too long. What needs special attention is that the cost of Party A's training for Party B in the early stage should be deducted from this 10% income. Ava went crazy. When did you train Zach? Zach relied on his own talent. Miss, empty words are not enough, let's speak with evidence. I quickly stopped Ava's scream and took out the corresponding documents and invoices one by one. These included the money for buying trendy clothes for Zach, the money for taking Zach to record, the money for publicity, the money for Zach and Ava to join together on variety shows and hire professional makeup artists to do their makeup. After deducting various expenses, there was almost nothing left. In fact, strictly speaking, the money Zach spent on taking you to eat wontons should also be included in the calculation. I said tolerantly, but the company emphasizes humanistic management, so I won't ask you to pay it back. Ava wanted to grab my collar. Are you crazy? Zach and I were on the variety show together, and he signed it to you, but I didn't sign it to you. Give me my half. Not bad, Ava was a talented student after all, and at this juncture, she can still think in this direction. Unfortunately, I took out the email record of the communication with the variety show director. Ms. Ava, the program team only invited Zach, and the fee was clearly for Zach. You are just an amateur girlfriend who went on the show with him. It can even be said that Zach is using his traffic to support you. I am lucky that I didn't ask you for this fee. I shook my head regretfully at Ava, who made a sharp explosion. There is no way. It is Zach who is popular, not you. You know it very well. Without him, you can't go on the variety show by yourself. To depend on others is to take risks. Of course, I also depend on Zach, but I depend on the contract. And the only means for you to depend on Zach is illusory love. So you lose everything, and in the end you will have nothing left. That night, Ava wrote a long article on Weibo. In the short article, she cried that I was squeezing their hard-earned money and was an unscrupulous agency. For a while, fans of Ava and Zach criticized me, and even passers-by condemned me. They are sisters, how can the elder sister treat the younger sister like this? Did she take advantage of the trust between relatives? Alas, she is really profiteering. I quietly waited for the matter to ferment for a while. Then, I threw a recording online. In the recording, Ava's voice was very clear. Introducing female college students to big bosses will earn several thousand yuan each time. If Annie hadn't forced me, I wouldn't have come to this point today. Obviously I came to college alone, and if she worked to support me, everything would be fine. Why did she have to compete with me? She owed me, so she paid it back in this way. Soon, public opinion immediately reversed. Everyone was scolding Ava. This ungrateful person, Annie treated her like this and it was a bargain for her. I have never seen such a shameless person, it really opened my eyes. Does she think the whole world revolves around her? At the critical moment when the whole world abandoned Ava, Zach stood up. He broke up with Ava. Facing Ava, whose reputation had completely collapsed, Zach said that he was just following the company's arrangement to hype up the CP, and he was not familiar with Ms. Ava himself. Ava was furious and immediately uploaded Zach's private photos to the internet. Zach failed to break up with Ava and was instead hung up. For a while, he was not only called a scumbag by the whole network, but also body-shamed. And just when Ava and Zach were constantly biting each other on the internet, Selena called me. She asked me to meet in a small shop. This is a small shop located deep in the alley. The sign at the door reads, "Make a wish 10 yuan per time." It is a little inconsistent with Miss Selena's temperament. I walked into the store. A beautiful girl wearing gold-rimmed glasses was sitting behind the counter. When she saw me come in, she looked up and said to me in a familiar voice, "Sit down. What do you want to drink?" I scratched my head and took the peach soda she threw to me. I was a little confused. Have we met before? I remembered. In my previous life, I died in the hospital. In the confusion, a clear female voice seemed to say to me, "Do you want to start over again?" It was her. The girl was not surprised. She took a can of banana milk and bit the straw. "I'm glad you remembered it." There was a crackling sound in the backyard of the store, and the girl shouted angrily, "Jessie, you are so old, can you stop fighting with the big yellow girl?" A moment later, a handsome and tall boy came out with a cat with a yellow tail. "Be good, be obedient, brother will take you to get eggs." It's a female cat. No need to get eggs. I know, I just want to see if it can understand me and judge whether it has the potential to become a cat demon. I looked at the boys and girls fighting in front of me, and I had a vague impression in my mind. The boy's name is Jesse, and he is a soul chaser. The girl's name is Sharon, and she is a traverser. They opened this store to help customers realize their wishes. I was able to be reborn because of them. I was about to thank her, but Sharon seemed to have seen what I was going to say. It's okay, don't thank us, thank you Miss Selena. After all, our store was able to open because Miss Selena was the angel investor. Before she finished speaking, the door curtain was lifted, and Selena walked in with a dusty face. Who decided the location of this store? Miss Selena's Chanel suit was stained with a lot of wall dust, as if she had fallen in the dirt pit outside. The alley is so narrow that my newly bought Porsche can't drive in at all. She saw me at a glance. Ah, you're here. Selena took a bottle of ice water from the refrigerator, sat opposite me, and began to listen to my report and analysis. According to the original agreement, we will split the money we earn 50-50. After talking about these, Selena nodded. At first, we invested in you because you were Sharon's reborn client, and they asked me to take care of you. But now I think you are really capable of execution and smart. I have discussed it with my father, and we both think that developing artist management business is in line with the current trend. Maybe after graduation, you can really join the song group and make song entertainment flourish. I was very touched. Selena is really a kind-hearted lady. She has funded the entrepreneurial plans of more than 100 students in our school, and few of them made money. She lost so much money, but she is still willing to support every dream. I must not let her down. Extra Annie left with blood boiling. She didn't know that as soon as she left, Selena and Sharon started fighting. Next time you say half of the words, I will really kill you. Selena roared at Sharon. Here's what happened. After Sharon and Jesse reborn Annie, they sent a WeChat message to Selena, saying that the new reborn client was from the same university as hers, and was very poor, and hoped that Selena would take care of him. Selena sent a bunch of messages asking who the client was for such a big school, but Jesse and Sharon were busy with other things and didn't reply at all. So Selena had to invest in all the juniors who came to her with business plans. More than 100. At least 90 of them lost everything. Selena roared, isn't my money money? Isn't my life life? Sharon dodged left and right, avoiding Selena's angry attack. Isn't it just 90 that were lost? There are still a dozen. Those dozen just didn't lose everything. Selena wanted to cry, it will be lost by the end of the year, I don't care, you turn back time for me, this time I will definitely hold my wallet tightly. In the distance, Jesse hugged the mother cat and silently left the battlefield. Anya, do you understand? Jesse said patiently, if you don't have a golden finger like Rebirth, then starting a business is risky and you need to be cautious when investing,